Welcome to On the Scotty's Couch. I'm Ben Tansley and I'm here with Nikki Scott, the founder of Scotty's Little Soldiers. We're here for the 10th anniversary of Lee's death. So tell us a little bit more about it.
So 10 years ago today, Lee was killed in Afghanistan. He was in the 2nd Royal Tank Regiment.
Okay.
And I basically had 2 guys come to my house and asked me to hand my baby to them. Brooke, she was only 7 months old at the time, and they told me that Corporal Lee Michael Scott had been killed in an explosion. Didn't really tell me any other details than that at the time. This was about 2:30 in the afternoon on a Friday.
Right.
And I was just in shock, basically. I was in a bit of a denial. Like, for the last few weeks of him being away in Afghanistan, I'd had this nightmare of Lee's going to get hurt and going to be killed. So when they were actually telling me it was almost like I was still like dreaming it. It was so surreal. Yeah. And then my thought just totally went to my son Kai, who's 5. He was 5 at the time. And obviously I was about to go and pick him up from school. So I just then went into panic of, how the hell am I going to tell
him
Kai?
What to do, or do you tell him?
Yeah, like this is going to absolutely shatter his world. Kai's autistic and has learning difficulties as well, so it's quite hard to tell Kai things. You have to be really straight with him. And he was also, you know, a typical daddy's little boy, daddy's little soldier, who, idolised Lee. He was his best friend, you know, he was his hero. So I knew I was going to shatter his world. And basically later that night, I sat Kai on the bed and just said, "Do you remember where Daddy was, Kai?" And he said, "Yeah, Afghan." And I said, "Daddy's never going to be able to come home anymore. The baddies have killed him and he's gone to a place called heaven." But I was it's horrible, but I was so straight. I was just like, you're never going to see Daddy again. Yeah. And he just sat there and I cried and he put his arm around me. And from that moment, obviously Kai was my focus. You know, everything I'd done from then on, I was just wanted to know, like,
is he okay?
Yeah, how am I going to help Kai? What am I going to do? Where are we going to live? I'm in a military garrison, you know, this is an army house, not my house. Where do I go? And as the weeks went past, it was just darkness, you know, as you can imagine, with the repatriation and then Lee's funeral and deciding where to have him buried. Do I have him buried in Tidworth, where we were based, or King's Lynn, where we're from? So lots of stuff going on, and as well as trying to get my head around that Lee wasn't ever coming home. So to me, you know, Lee had been on tour for 6 weeks, so his toothbrush wasn't out, his mug wasn't out, his clothes were put away, like, so it was just weird. It was like he was still on tour. Yeah, and it wasn't until the December, when the lads all come home from tour, Lee's squadron come back, and I actually made myself go to medal parade where they collected their medals, just so I could see that he wasn't on the parade square with the other lads.
To kind of make it real for yourself.
Yeah, I thought it would help. I don't know whether it did actually, but it was like tormenting myself. It's like torture really, but I had to see that Lee wasn't on the parade square with the other boys.
It's amazing how you deal with different things. Like you've gone into that, I need to look after the children, but then you're kind of in dealing with it yourself, and it is hard to get the two right, and it takes time. Yeah,
it definitely. And I look back now, and I can't even remember those first few months. Like, it was just darkness, and I wasn't living. I was just surviving. I mean, I had to get up. People always say, "Oh, you're so strong," like, and you think, I'm not strong. I've got a 5-year-old yanking at me to get out of bed for Cocoa Pops, you know. So you have to carry on. And my family were amazing, and my friends, and they supported me and helped as much as they could. But there's only so much they do, you know. And then when it's you on your own in the evening, that's when it.
I think even for me, like with my accident, the whole driving force behind me being positive and trying to do that is the children. You know, I didn't want my children to see me down, and they've helped me through. But that's kind of where you've noticed the fact that actually there's no one there to kind of help the children. So that is what stemmed Scotty's Little Soldiers for you. Isn't it?
So I basically, it was about 9 months after Lee had been killed, my family just said to me, "Please come away on holiday with us. Please come away." And I had this it's a guilt. What will people think? I shouldn't be going on holiday. My husband was killed. And anyway, they wouldn't take no for an answer. So we went away. It was the best thing I could have done, because I relaxed, Kai relaxed, and it sounds corny, but I kind of had this wake up moment where Kai was laughing in the swimming pool with his cousins, and I thought, that is the first time in 9 months he has laughed. And Lee would be going mental at me. I need to sort myself out and get him help, because I couldn't believe there'd been organisations that had written to me, and I'd been handed stuff by my visiting officer for me, but nothing for the kids. I couldn't get my head around it. I was like, where is the help for bereaved, military kids? So basically that holiday just got me thinking, like, I need to help Kai and sort myself out. Kai needs to know it's all right to laugh. It's all right to live, like Dad would want
life
that.
Continues,
Yeah, and, we're never going to forget Daddy, but we're going to, in his memory, live and, carry on. And I got back to the UK, and I done a lot of research and spoke to family and friends and said, look, I can't find any organisation that helps bereaved military kids. So this is what I want to do. Don't have a clue how I'm going to do it, but there are hundreds of kids out there that aren't getting the support that they so should be, So it kind of stemmed from that. That we decided we'd have Scotty's Little Soldiers. Lee was called Lee Scott, so he was known as Scotty in the army, and called Kai's Little Soldiers. So the name's kind of personal. But I think I was really clear with, I want the charity to help, all the force. So Army, Navy, RAF. So
any child.
Not just if they were killed in action, whether it's an illness or an accident. I just want bereaved military kids to have the very best support.
I think it's a massive thing. Obviously, we spoke about it off air, but the children, like, at that age, the parenting side of it and going through things like that, if you don't get that right, that changes their whole life. And I think, by you offering that support to them at that early age, because they actually help you. So I think if you got the support for the children, then it actually pulls the parents along as well. So it's a massive thing. It's crazy to think that nobody had kind of even looked at it from like that.
I couldn't believe it. And the whole thing about, like, what you've just said is we are there to support the kids, and it doesn't matter whether, the marital status or, this is about a kid that's lost their parent that served our country. So, but with that, you do help the whole family, you see it, and it doesn't matter. It's interesting. So for me back then, my main focus was Kai, because he was 5 and he'd seen everything and, and heard stuff and, seen the news. You couldn't shield it from him. No. It was so, well publicised. Like, Lee's picture was on the front of newspapers. So you'd take him to the shop for sweets and he'd see him on the radio and I remember just being concerned about him and I kind of naively thought, Brooke's 7 months. She won't be affected. And yet actually what I've seen from meeting other families as well and other kids that we support is that as time goes on, it doesn't matter whether they were 2 years old, 15, 18 when their parent died. As they grow, they're missing, they're grieving and they're missing a role model and they're missing that support.
And obviously they're going through school with kids with parents and stuff, and they're seeing how they react, and then they haven't got them. So there's a massive level of support, like you said, for anyone really.
It is. With that as well, as another thing I noticed with Kai was in a school in a military garrison, so 99% of the kids were military kids. So when we moved back to King's Lynn in Norfolk, no one got it. And with Brooke now, she'll really feel it at remembrance days and stuff when they're talking about World War One. She relates everything to obviously Lee, and none of the other kids in her class will get it. And yet, through the charity, she's got some amazing friends that 100% get it. She can ring them on FaceTime and they chat away, and it is just lush.
It's like a massive network. And
it's a huge community, and it is. And I know that they're friends. They're 10 years old now, but they'll be friends forever because they 100% understand.
And kids are like, even me in hospital, it's amazing if you meet some people. I met some lads in hospital who had a similar injury. And you've only met them the last 6 weeks, but because you've been through something so traumatic together, you always bypass that sort of early stage of friends and you become very close friends fairly quick. And it must be the same for kids, if they've got something to relate to. So something as simple as a charity, just putting that network of people together is great, really.
And that to me, when we first started the charity, it was mainly aimed at having holiday homes so they could have that experience that I had, they could run away and not worry about the cost or anything, and they could get away from it all. But as the time's gone on, actually that community of meeting other people that are in the same situation as you, that understand, is so important.
But it must be amazing what you've learned going along. Obviously you've done your own journey with your own children, but actually now meeting other children. So your initial thing was like the holidays, because that was what helped you, but actually that might not be the holidays what helps them. The other kids might just be the network. So I suppose you've learned, and as you've gone on through the last 10 years,
never knew, 10 years ago or 9 years ago that what I do today. You know, I've learnt so much and met some incredible people, and I think it's the network and the community and meeting people that just understand and get it, like the same with you, that it's so important. I think sometimes you forget how important that is.
Yeah, I mean, my whole motto behind life is everything happens for a reason, and I think you know, no matter what bad things happen, something good come from it, and this is just a perfect example. So, and there is more to the story with it. Like you said, there was a box you found, which is now kind of
So it's really weird. It was last November. So you know, Lee has been gone 9 years, and I've got a memory box, and it's got a lot of his personal items in, like, and I keep it really safe. It's like his watch and his aftershave and wallet and stuff. And I've looked in this memory box like thousands of times over the years. And it's just every now and again I just have 20 minutes to myself and have a little look. But it's really weird. There's a black notebook in it, which I've looked at before, and I've kind of put it to the side because it came back with his stuff from Afghan.
Okay.
It's got a load of, like, I don't even understand. It's like army jumbo. I don't know. It's like writing. It was obviously like his notes from a briefing or something. I didn't really understand it, so I've kind of just always put it to the side. And then this day, I was just happened to flick through it, and as I flicked, the very last thing that he'd written in this book, and the very last page, it says, "We will make life better." And and it hit me. I was just like, and I rang my brother. I was like, "Do you never going to guess what? Like, Lee has written, we will make life better." And it was just like he obviously, earlier in the book he'd put he'd obviously took some notes, and he'd put about we will make life better for the everyday Afghan people. So he kind of meant it to make life better, what he was doing out there. But actually, in his memory, he's making life better for hundreds of bereaved kids. It was almost
like a kind of message from the grave a bit, as if to say, look, you are doing this.
It's really weird.
You've got his support, which is lovely.
And it's almost like, my God, Lee, you don't understand. You're not here, and you're still changing people's lives.
And it's not, I mean, I'm just thinking now, it's like how you're saying you're changing the young kids' lives, but then not only their lives, when they get old and have their children, you change their lives. Because if you didn't change their parents' lives when they was young, then, and it's just going to have a massive effect, I'm forever.
I'm just really, proud that I've got that, because it's almost like Lee saying, life, can throw all sorts of stuff, and I'd give anything to have him back. And life was so different. It was really weird when I think back to my life with Lee, because it's so different now. But like you, I've got to do some amazing things, met some incredible people.
Gives you more purpose.
And I'm doing something now that I never would have done before.
No.
And I feel like Lee's message is like a keep going.
Keep going. Yes.
This is what life is about.
And it's probably that next drive, so you've done 9 years, and you kind of think, you've done great, but now this will give you another leash to go again. And like I spoke to you before, you was like, the beauty of the charity is like you're doing so well and you've changed it, but there's so much more to do. And that's just that drive and keep you going. Because
it's great. There are still so many more kids that don't know about Scotty's yet. They could be having the help from us, which it's a really tough thing for me, because we've done loads of great stuff for hundreds of bereaved kids, but there is still more to do and still more work.
So is it something the military would let them know about Scotty's Upside, or is it just something they have to find themselves? Or
a bit of both. So it's took quite a while for us to reach our credibility and to prove the work we're doing and stuff. But we're now at the point where the military behind us, visiting. So when a bereavement happens, the family are assigned a visiting officer, and we are now in their pack. So visiting officers now know about us. But it's trying to find the families maybe that this happened to a few years ago.
Who don't know about that.
So that is where awareness and people getting
social
involved.
Social media and power.
And people sharing it and fundraising, and this has a knock-on effect. So there'll be someone that knows someone
who needs your help. I mean, it's amazing what you're doing. So how many children have you helped today?
Just over 400 today.
It's amazing.
And it's you say it's amazing, but I know there's more out there.
From me looking in, I think
But it is when you started with 5. We had a handful, and my thing was always like, if I can help 5 kids smile and realise life can be okay,
even one, let alone,
then it's worth doing. And it is, don't get me wrong, I had no idea what setting up a charity involved.
You said it started from like a bedroom, and even your kids helped you to start with, didn't they? Putting labels on.
They were putting labels on collection pots, and they'd do, we'd stand out in the rain and cold doing stands and stuff. But you just, you have that passion and you believe in what you're doing and you know what difference it can make to kids. So you do it, and it becomes a life.
The first one must have been an emotional time for you when you've helped the first kind of child, and you think,
I spoke to, when I first had the idea for Scotty's and I was doing my research, I'd had a couple of widows that had contacted me when Lee died, and sort of just said, I lost my husband in Iraq and I've got 2 young kids, and just want to let you know if you ever need to chat to someone. So I kind of had those girls, and I went back to them and say, look, I've had this idea, like, do you even want this? Because maybe that's why it's not there. And they were really positive, like, my God, this is about time. This needs doing. So I already had a group of kids, so that I was starting to...
Ready to help.
Yeah, and the great thing about Scotty's is it's not just like a one-off grant or a one-off gift on your birthday. This is they join as Scotty members, and then we support them right through to the age of 25. So they have, they're just always hearing from us.
And that's probably every stage of life, so you're kind of going from a child to a teenager to an adult.
It can be a tiny baby. We've got babies right through to, and it's just amazing to see the kids grow, and you might only see them once a year at a Christmas event or something, but you'll be in touch with them throughout the year with text messages, the parents, text messages, and our private website we've got, and you just see the difference in the kids as they grow and the confidence, or you'll get a letter from them saying, I've just done this amazing ski trip. My dad was in the army ski team, and Scotty's helped funded some of it, and I wanted to say thanks. And you just think, that kid amazing. A couple of years ago would never gone away from his mum on a school trip.
The thing you'll probably find is these kids who are in it till they're 25, and then they're going to have such a, not bond to Scotty's Coach, but that will grow big then, because they're hopefully going to want to do something to help and add back. And I can see this going crazy, so it's really good. I'd like to check back in another 10 years and say, so what are you doing now? But
Brooke will probably be running it in 10 years.
That's right. We're 10 times bigger than this. But
we get that though. We've already got, like, the older kids, they've sort of reached 19 and they want to fundraise or volunteer, and they'll come and volunteer with the little ones, which is great. I love seeing that, And
it's just a community, but it's almost like you've not started a charity, it's a community of people. So no, that is amazing. So what is the ways you mainly help? So you've got the holidays, you've got the network where they talk, what other sort of things do you do?
We've split it into programs. So we've got Smile, Support, Strides and Springboard. And basically the Smile stuff is all about, so they can have a holiday, they get a birthday present and a Christmas present every year, and they get a voucher on the anniversary of their parents' death, and at remembrance they'll get a meal voucher, which all sounds like, God, they get loads, but actually it's really interesting when you hear from the families, that stuff actually might be a small gift voucher, but the fact that someone is remembering them, 10 years on, they'll still be getting that voucher on that anniversary of their parents' death. It just means, like, your dad died for the country, and people haven't forgotten you. They are fundraising.
They're dying for a cause at the end of the day, and I think sometimes that is lost within the military as a whole. These people are out fighting, and some people don't recognise even what they're doing. So it's when families like yourself lose that.
And they move away from the garrison.
I think you said previously as well how sometimes as well the families, they're in this military environment, and that is kind of a different lifestyle, isn't it, what most people lead. Then you lose your husband, you come away from that, you kind of lose that sense of that community as well. So I was trying to...
bit of a safety net, you feel really
You said,
lost.
I think some of the soldiers had kind of gone back and spoke to your children, so that helps. But you said it actually helps the soldiers as well.
Often we find the guys have lost touch, and they almost feel like it's been too long and they don't want to get back in touch with the family because it might be
awkward.
It's like, I don't want to bring back bad memories. On Facebook they look like they're in a great place, and I've sort of said to the guys that I've met, you should reconnect, you should go and speak to that family, even if they say they'll tell you if they don't want to be in touch. But I said 100%, like, I can tell you now, if one of Lee's mates come back in touch with me, I'd love it, because the kids need to know the stuff about their dad and the stuff they can tell.
And these people know more than anyone. So, and it is the stories. Like you said, they've kind of lost that, but to hear the stories of the dad and what they've done, that must be important. Because I think it is a completely different lifestyle, isn't it? Once you're in the military and they're travelling around and you're doing things. So once you've been in that, to then come away, it's like, what do I do? So that's
really lost.
That's another amazing thing you're doing. So no, it's good.
So that was part of the Smiles. And with the Smiles, you do all this fun stuff with them, and we do a big Christmas event or group events, and you find that like that community becomes, and they begin to trust you.
Yeah.
So then when they hit those tough times, because they will come, and when the kids need that real important support, we kind of move into our support program. But the families can just pick up the phone and ring us because they feel like it's easy to do, rather than ringing a counsellor, or they'll just ring us and say, do you know of a counsellor that we can use? I'm really worried about my child. Or sometimes just a chat with like myself will help, because they're just like, I just needed to chat and hear someone
bit of
else
reassurance as well.
that's gone through it, and I'm doing the right thing, and you've been through some of this, and then other times we'll refer them over, and if there's a waiting list, we'll work with that family and keep in touch with them until that child is seen, and sort of walk with them and hold their hand. Then the Strides program is all about the development. So you'll probably relate more to this, but their confidence and building self-esteem back up. Lots of the kids suffer with anxiety, get really nervous in situations, and they can have. I mean, Kai had major anxiety of me going anywhere because he just thought I wasn't going to come back. Yeah, and lots of the kids are like that. So the Strides is about grants, offering them, the ski trips, and funding different opportunities, and if they go off to uni, they can apply for a grant to go to uni. And
they are things you don't know how people feel until you've been put into that situation. I'm the same with being in a wheelchair and being paralysed. I've seen loads of people in wheelchairs, but I can never, you can't, you never can relate to that until you're actually in that. So I think the fact the charity is run by someone who's been through it as well must play a massive part.
I think
in
so,
it.
yeah.
I think if that was a government set up thing and that was run by people who are just in suits and so, they probably can't relate to it as much. So you're actually passionate about it and driving it, and they can directly speak to you. It's a huge part, isn't it?
But it's like I loved what you were telling me earlier about when you go to hospitals and see young lads that have just been paralysed.
Yeah.
And then they look at you and you're like a young guy that's quite trendy, and they think, oh, actually,
life goes on.
He's doing this incredible stuff.
Because people do give up, and it's when you're faced with adversity, it's tough.
Yeah.
But to see someone who's been through it and done it is a massive thing, and I enjoy doing that. Yeah. So you must find it really rewarding.
I read this thing about you where it says, since my accident, I've only had 20 minutes downtime to myself. Yeah. But other than that, I've never had a down day. Is that true?
Probably not so much now. I think the first year and a half, I came out of hospital and I was just so busy. I kept myself so occupied, trying new things, just thought, right. But mainly for the kids again, because I was like a superhero to them as well. Dad would do anything. So I didn't want them to see that life can throw you a curveball and then Dad's just going to give up. I couldn't go from being a super dad to someone who's just down the dump. So I came out and thought, right, what can I do to show them I'm still invincible? And I came out, I've done a marathon, I've done kayak, and I've done loads of different things just to show them, like, you are going to get tough times, but you can stay positive and get through it. So I didn't allow myself to have any downtime.
That's amazing.
But there was a time where I thought, right, I'm doing so much towards my injury, recovery, I'm actually forgetting to live a bit as well. So I tailored that back, so I wasn't doing as much. But then I had the time to think. I think everybody has to process something at some stage, and I think probably the first year and a half I stepped over it, just kind of pushed it away. Yeah. So then I had a bit of time to think, well, actually now I'm in a wheelchair. So I have days where I'm quiet. Yeah. And I might just take. So I go down the Ouse a lot, down the docks, and I something about the water. I'll sit there for probably 4 or 5 hours, and I'm not down. I'm not anything. I just like a day to myself, and I probably reflect on everything what's gone on. So I'll sit there and think, right, what have I been feeling lately? Why have I been feeling that? What can I do? And I just process, and then I'm fine. So I probably had a few days where I'm just quiet. But for the first year and a half, I stepped over it.
That was so like me, though. Yeah. My mum always says to me, God, you just don't, since Lee died, you have not stopped. And that's just how
it's a coping mechanism,
totally.
It's probably the most organised I've ever been in my life. I rung the athletics committee whilst I was in hospital. So I sort of said to them, I'm newly paralysed. I said, I want to do some athletics competitions. How can I sign up? She said, how long have you been paralysed? I said, 2 weeks. She said, you've been out of hospital 2 weeks? I said, no, I'm still strapped to a hospital bed. And she said, I don't think we've ever had anybody cool who's just strapped to a hospital bed. But I think it was just organised. I thought, right, this has happened. what can I do about it? You know, the same as you, when, like you said, when you first, straight away, how can I protect the kids? What can I do? What do I need to do? And looking back now, like, that was probably a blur for me as well. You just go into like coping mode. Yeah. So, but then through bad things like that, good things come from it, and that's what stemmed this.
And
so
things like what you know, I still now, 10 years on, have, you know, my down day. Like, I think about Lee every single day, like anyone that misses someone would. But I, you know, still have my down days, but I make sure that I let myself have those down days.
Yeah,
I'm like, it's all right to be down, but then I make sure I pick myself up.
Yeah, you have to.
And that almost gives me, that down day almost makes me go into work the next day and be like, right. Yeah, like I'm cracking on this.
They always say sunny days wouldn't be special if it wasn't for rain, and that is kind of that. You have to do that. You have those down days, and that just stems to something good. Yeah. But I think that's for you. It's probably, it must be, you know, like people deal with losing people, and that kind of over time you kind of just, it gets better. Whereas it's every day you're around the Scotty's Little Soldiers, the name, so it is always more relevant for you. But seeing the note and things like that gives you reassurance, and you know it's kind of meant to be. Yeah, and I think for me, like losing Lee is, like, I always say to someone, like, I've had widows that have said, like, they've just recently lost their husband, and they're like, please tell me this gets better. And I'm always really honest and say, look, it won't get better, but your life will change. You'll take a new direction, turn a new corner, and live a new life. Because part of you does die when they die. You know, I'm not the same person I used to be. I'm a completely different person, to be honest. But I've still, like, my old Nick's still there at times, but I do feel like, my life with Lee was so long ago. Yeah, it's like a different chapter, isn't it? Yeah, and I always say to him, it won't get better, it doesn't get easier, but you learn to move on. And I think the difference is, when I used to think about Lee, you know, a few years ago, I'd think about Lee and cry. Whereas now I can think about Lee and smile. Yeah, because say, look what you've done. Yeah, and just remembering him, and he was such a positive person. Yeah. And really happy, and you know, he would be, I know for a fact, fundraising for Scotty's if he was here. You know, like, it was his kids and military were his life. Yeah. So I think it's about, like you said, stuff's happened and life changes, but you've got to pick yourself up, move on, and live. And I think how you are, like, choosing to find a positive in something. You know, I always say that something good always comes from something bad. Yeah. And I think it's just my outlook on it, because I then choose to look for the good things. You know, you don't see it straight away. Sometimes it might take a year, 2 years, but you look back and you think, well, actually, look, if that hadn't happened, we wouldn't be here. You know, this wouldn't happen. It's like throwing a stone in a pond. I always think, you know, you get the ripples, and that's kind of what you've done. You know, you've had the accident, and you know, it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger till world domination, I think.
Till every child is supported.
Well, I think it's the dream, isn't it? And I think you're going in the right direction. So, you know, I think these videos go out, and anybody watching is great. You know, if you know anybody what needs help, you know, contact Scotty's Little Soldiers. Yeah. Oh, good.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. So, thanks for watching. Check out Scotty's Little Soldiers. All the links will be down in the page, and hopefully we can go from there.